Hello,
But
everyone.
oh my gosh, we're so excited that she's back. Yes. So we're back to our platform of paranormal stuff in the beginning, and then we'll run and get into our uh, readings. But so go ahead though and start populating questions when you think of them for Susie and Celeste. And I am still trying to get us to go live on Instagram. Instagram is just doesn't want to play well with this platform. Can't figure it out. So what have you guys been up to this week? Anything? Is the retrograde kicking your butts? The retrogrades?
I don't want to talk about it because
Ah,
I don't want to. Everything's
yeah.
great. Let's just it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of hoping that karmic one comes around. Hey, Mud Lover, Mad Max, Pac-Man. Nice to see you guys. Oh gosh, why won't Instagram work? I can't figure it out, man.
See, like I have Instagram, but like I am never on it unless someone sends me a video on there. Like I am never on it. It is
Yeah.
Facebook.
I'm thinking I'm just gonna ditch it. I don't know. There's like this 3-step process you have to do to go live from this platform over to Instagram, and it ain't working. So, whatever. Okay. McKenna, what you got for us, hon?
Well, first off, like I missed everyone. I missed the podcast. I've been away for way too long. I'm in a new scene. I don't have any of my stuff up yet, but we're in a house. We bought a house. So, things have been a little wild. Hello, Mud Lover, and hello, Mad Max. I see you shouting out in the comments. But we're back to our paranormal topics. So this week, we're going to cover the topic of the Thunderbird, and not the model produced by Ford, although that is a very nice model. So this model is produced by the minds and spirits of many indigenous cultures. So this is a very, thank you, Mud Lover. So this is a very interesting topic because it covers a lot of different tribes and cultures in Native American lore. So I figured it'd be a fun topic to kind of come back on. So this mythical cryptid is a well-known legend among many different indigenous peoples. It's described as a giant bird with some saying it looks like an enormous eagle, while other cultures say that it has a bird. It looks like a bird with 2 heads. With one being like a head, like a normal head in the center, and then one also like on its abdomen, which I feel like would be some like Studio Ghibli kind of like thing. But the name Thunderbird generally kind of comes from the general belief that this creature is responsible for like thunder and lightning, like in weather, saying that like the thunder originates from like the flapping or the beating of its wings, and the lightning originates or comes from its eyes. But something I find incredible about this particular legend is how many indigenous peoples reference it or have stories about it. I kind of have a list of some of them. This isn't even all of them. But the Iroquois, the Shawnee, the Sioux, the Nez Perce, these tribes see the Thunderbird as a protector against evil spirits and a powerful force for good. And I've kind of noticed that on both spectrums, there is cultures and stories where they believe that the Thunderbird is a benevolent spirit, a good spirit, a protector. And then on the opposite side, they believe that it's a sort of god that is malevolent, or brings punishment down on people who, behave badly. So another culture is the Tillamook people. In one legend, a man angered by a storm has his spear and blanket taken by the Thunderbird, who then takes him into the sky. And that's kind of like the cliff notes of this legend. Another is the Chippewa, or the Ojibwa. Their legends associate the Thunderbird with Mount McKay and the city of Thunder Bay, Ontario. The Cherokee also have references to this creature. Some believe their Thunderbird legends are rooted in accounts of children being snatched up by large birds during storms, which a lot of indigenous cultures have like a legend or some sort of legend or creature that specifically like target children, that like snatch children away. And that could be rooted in like a, stay close kind of like lesson for the children to kind of like keep them from wandering off, because back then, like, there's animals, there's all kinds of things that could harm your children or take them away. So there could be a root in that, but also there's so many. You still have goldfish in the freezer. Are they okay? Have we thought out any yet? I'd love to know. I don't have any goldfish in my freezer. I don't know if I'd be brave enough to try that experiment. I've seen people like swallow goldfish and then spit it.
No,
no, really, at my high school, it wasn't even like a talent show. It was some assembly, and someone swallowed a live goldfish and then puked it back up and kept it as a pet.
Oh, God.
Small random hiatus.
Folks, don't do this, right?
Yeah,
don't
please
do it.
don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. That is animal cruelty, 1,000%. Please don't do this. Small tangent.
Look at Celeste. Look at her face.
Shout out
We're
to
fish people here, but we like to eat the kind you eat, but we keep it in the tank.
We love trout. We love salmon. I love to fish personally, not goldfish. Please don't do that. Shout out to Stansbury High School.
Oh my God.
But aside, no, Max, not allowed. So aside from, the small tangent here, so the Passamaquoddy, they tell of a journey to find the source of thunder, culminating in the discovery of a group of thunderbirds. So some legends and some stories specify that it is like one creature, like a type of godly being. And then others say that it's like its own species, or there are multiple. And as far as like some of the contemporary stories we're going to kind of get into a little bit later, there are both. There are both that kind of say it's one specific creature, and some where they see multiples of this creature. So it's a very fun topic. I've had a lot of fun researching this one. So in all of these legends, the Thunderbird represents power and strength. There's a very common theme there. They are all powerful, essentially, like someone would reference to like a god, whether that's Norse, Christian, whatever. They represent it, or they refer to it as like an all-powerful type being, whether that is used as a protective force or a malevolent one, like a punishing force, essentially. So another tribe that I hadn't mentioned yet, is the Ute Indian tribe. They have a story about the Thunderbird that I'm going to read off to you guys that I found that was very interesting. So according to local Ute Indian legend, great thunderbirds ruled the skies and lived atop the Grand Mesa. One day they stole some children. Again, there's that reference to them taking children on a completely different tribe, a completely different culture. They stole some children from the Ute village. Outraged, the warriors climbed to the top of the mesa to rescue the children. Sadly, they found that the children had been eaten. In retribution, the warriors threw the Thunderbird eggs into the valley below. When the Thunderbirds returned and found their nests empty, they looked down and found their eggs had been devoured by the great serpent, which was probably a reference to the snake-like shape of the Colorado River that can be seen from the top of the mesa, top of the mountain. The birds swooped down and snatched up the snake and flew with it high over the mesa. Amidst a raging storm, the birds ripped the serpent to pieces and threw the electrified pieces all across the mesa, which created a huge scar on the landscape. The Thunderbirds wept young, and their tears filled the scars, thus forming the dozens of lakes that today dot the top of the mesa. Even today, when the wind blows from a certain direction, people say you can hear the wail of the Thunderbirds as they mourn their lost young. So in this particular story, and then there are a couple others that reference specific peaks, specific rivers. They associate this story with the formation or the nation of these landmarks that are culturally significant to these indigenous peoples. And they're so in depth and they have so much emotion that they have to have been created from a place of mourning, a place of deep spiritual like significance. Taste for kids, yeah. And there's, I mean, at least 2 cultures that use the Thunderbird like a reference or a warning to their children, or that, you know, reference children being taken. Which in a contemporary story, there is an account of someone's child being taken, or there's an attempt to try and take this person's child, and that is within the past 100 years. So we'll kind of get into those now, actually. So there are some contemporary sightings of what people believe to be the Thunderbird, and we'll get into those. So I'll go over here first. I have a few. So we'll go to this one first, since we kind of referenced it already. So this happened in 1977. It was Monday, July 25th, 1977. A woman named Ruth Lowe, who lived in Lawndale, Illinois, was cleaning the family camper in the front yard when she heard her 10-year-old son, Marlon, screaming from behind the house. She dropped what she was doing, dashed to the backyard, and saw a gigantic blackbird with a wingspan exceeding 8 feet that had grasped her 56-pound son by the shoulders and was attempting to fly off with him. According to Mrs. Lowe, the bird came very close to succeeding. It had managed to lift the violently struggling boy off the ground and was slowly flapping its way across the yard. However, either the child was too heavy or the bird was startled by the frantic cries of his mother, and dropped its prey. The bird soared skyward and was joined by an equally large companion and flew away. Alerted by the blood-curdling screams from the backyard, Jake Lowe, the next-door neighbors, James and Betty Daniels, came running. Arriving in time to witness the bizarre incident, later Daniels told the UPI reporter, "If I had just had a can of beer earlier, then I could have said I imagined it, but I didn't have any beer that day." Once the predators were out of sight, the Lowes measured the distance and determined the bird had carried Marlin a distance of approximately 35 feet. The witness describes the flying behemoth as follows. It had a white ring around its half-foot-long neck. The rest of its body was very black. The bird's bill was 6 inches in length and hooked at the end. The claws on its feet were arranged with 3 front, 1 in the back. Each wing, less than the body, was 4 feet at the very least. The entire length of the bird's body from beak to tail feather was approximately 4½ feet.
So I picked up an eagle, a golden eagle that got hit on the road, right? And it was a juvenile, and it was over 2 feet long, the body.
Yeah. And they say that golden eagles can get to approximately 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
So that is a large bird, and generally the wingspan is about twice the size.
Yeah. Well, and I read an account of something similar to this in East Texas. And yeah.
Well, I've seen, like, you can find videos of like smaller children, generally like my kids' age, like 5 and 6, like being attacked or like attempted to be carried off by like large predator birds like eagles. This kid was 10 years old. Honestly, I'm a little like skeptical because they say it was a 56-pound kid and my 6-year-old is 60 pounds. That's a little kid. My 6-year-old is 60 pounds right now.
Well, he's a bruiser.
He is a little tank. He's a little tank for sure. But yeah, this is a skinny 10-year-old.
I guess it happens out there. I mean, I'm thinking of a young lady that Celeste, that you know, that and Susie, you probably know her too, Miss Tink, and how small she is. She's a sophomore in college, and she's probably 80 pounds. Oh she gosh. Is itty bitty. Like if you could make it 000, that's what she would wear. She's itty bitty.
She could totally get carried off by a Thunderbird.
Yeah. So, I mean, it can happen, right? You can have small people. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, well, they're larger birds too. I mean, they're not particularly like predator birds like an eagle, but like the albatross is huge. It is a huge animal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't
How
see
big
them a whole lot.
aren't condors really big and they're fairly
Condors are
predator-like?
ginormous.
Yeah, they really are.
But there's not very many of them. They were almost extinct, so they had a breeding program going, and they were releasing them in Southern California, where they in the canyons. My dad actually flew next to one, came up and flew next to his airplane.
That
in a
is so
canyon.
cool.
Yeah, and he said it was absolutely massive. So yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say we went to a preserve in Peru and they had condors and they, I think, said 8 to 10 foot wingspan, tip to tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, Soapy, like Zapdos is like probably the best of the legendary birds on Pokemon.
Aha.
And for some reason, a lot of like the Pokemon like card content has been coming across my TikTok. Totally random, but yeah, always had a fondness for Zapdos.
Mm-hmm. It says here that the Andean condor has got a 10.8 foot wingspan and can weigh up to 33 pounds. So there's some pretty big animals out there.
Yeah.
It makes me kind of like wonder, like, if they have studied the amount, like the weight amount that they could carry. Because like birds are generally lighter, like, you know, they are hollow boned, they tend to be kind of like a lighter animal, but they carry off small prey animals, they carry fish, they, you know,
Rabbits,
rabbits, other birds that are smaller, owls even. So they have that ability, like they're very like strong, they're very athletic type of animals. So you have to kind of like wonder, like, what is like the capacity of weight that they could carry, and what kind of animal specifically would it have to be to kind of correlate to someone thinking that this is some legendary creature or mythic creature?
Right.
What are the correlations or the
And
differences?
there's also the tying in like just being shocked by something like that happening, and it happens so, I'm sure, so quickly that, you know, you're going to have that adrenaline rush. You may not have that whole, you know, perfect recall, how we do with witnesses and stuff. They have trouble remembering exact details, so maybe that's how some of it comes across. Who knows?
Right. It's the same with people that have like experienced trauma in childhood or singular traumatic experiences. The mind is incredible. It blocks it out or it changes it so that someone can live with the trauma.
Exactly.
It's very interesting how the mind works. But you experience something like that, you know, and instead of trying to kind of like reason it to something that you know for sure exists, to go to that place of like the mythical or the cryptid is interesting. You kind of want to know what their educational background, their historical background, cultural background is, because that may have an impact on what they are sure they saw or what they think they saw. You know, I'm sure like if they're recounting these things that happened to them and they are sure that it is not normal or not like what you would anticipate or suspect is normal, that they would potentially have some sort of education or some sort of background in the cryptid or the mythological.
Yeah, like tying it into some childhood bedtime story, like the boogeyman, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, there he is. Oh my gosh, that's got to be it.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of Native Americans, a lot of indigenous people nowadays that believe very strongly in the teachings and the lessons that have been passed down generation to generation. And, you know, whether or not other people would consider these omens reasonable or not, they believe it and they hold true to it because it's their culture. So it's very, very interesting to kind of like weigh in on like the contemporary thought of it and the scientific thought of it and the cultural thought of it is very sometimes black and white. Sometimes they correlate, but a lot of the times they are so different but it's just the human experience really overall, which makes it so interesting.
What is the difference between the Thunderbird and the Phoenix? Where did the Phoenix originate from?
You know, I'm not sure 100%. I know that it's like there's some like medieval roots to the Phoenix.
Oh, there's medieval. Okay.
There is some medieval roots, or at least it's referenced in some medieval lore. I'm not sure if it originated there, but I know it is referenced in medieval lore. But it's essentially like an undying being. Instead of dying, it's reborn at the end of its lifespan. Yes. Yep, exactly. At the end of its lifespan, it burns up and then is reborn from its own ashes.
Okay.
Which I think, I mean, I don't know if the Thunderbird is something like that, but I mean, if you consider other even topics we've talked about, and the possibility of there being like other dimensions, other worlds that are parallel to ours, and that energies create like portals in between, a lot of things can kind of like come in and out potentially of these different energy fields, which is a whole other theory. But it does kind of like explain how people can experience some phenomena that is unheard of in other places of the world or in other cultures. They can explain it this way, whether or not it's accurate or not. They explain it with a parallel world and our world intersecting in some point of energy, which there's so many theories, you know, and so many different like stories, lens, cultures, that are just super, super interesting. Whether or not they're real, you know, it's very interesting to learn about. Whether or not you think or believe in it, it's always interesting to see how humanity interprets it. Because I mean, we can only look at it from our own perspective.
Yep.
I do have a couple other stories about the Thunderbird, or a couple other like contemporary experiences. So Unsolved Mysteries, you know, that kind of show that was on way back, well, gosh, 20 plus years ago now. I was born in the 90s. It makes me feel old. Hello, Carrie Ann. So there was an author on Unsolved Mysteries, W.C. Jameson. So he told a tale of the Thunderbird, specifically the Thunderbird Cave in Utah. Utah, being my home state, is one of my favorite topics. So in 1738, a band of treasure-seeking Spaniards who were overloaded with silver ingots were attacked and killed by Indians angry over the continual trespassing on their hunting lands, which in that time, hunting lands for indigenous cultures, tribes, Native Americans was crime, because that was how you like developed your boundaries between tribes. That was the difference between life and death. So your hunting lands were your livelihood. And if someone encroached on that, they had to go. So these Spaniards were disposed of. But there were 2 survivors from the group of Spaniards. So while in hiding, they watched these Indians. They, you know, were obviously like very wary of them because all of their companions had been slaughtered. Took the burrows, or like the donkeys, of the dead Spaniards into a cave that had a petroglyph of a large strange bird over its entrance. The Indians killed and hacked up the bodies of the burrows, even chopping off their hooves. In the 1980s, an unnamed treasure hunter went into the cave looking for the silver ingots in the famed Thunderbird Cave. So he had heard this legend, and then he went to the cave to try and find, you know, the treasure within. After an extended search, he finally found a cave with a petroglyph of a large, unusual-looking bird with a long, reptile-like tail over its entrance. While digging, he unearthed burrow hooves and the large stem of a feather measuring 18 inches in length. Ornithologists, or, you know, people who specialize in the study of birds, determined it to be a wing feather, but from what sort of bird, no one could say. They were unable to determine the type of bird that it had originated from. So there were some that speculated that the burrows were sacrificed to the Thunderbird, or large bird-like creature that lived in this cave. which again could be a, like, there's a lot of like the Paiute, the Ute tribes, very similar kind of topography, I guess, landscape. They're from a very similar area, and they all have a legend of some sort of predator within a cave. They associate predators being in these caves, or some sort of enemy being within these caves, kind of like the Sitka that we covered, the red-haired giants of the Paiute Indians. So there's a lot of significance, I feel like, spiritually with these specific tribes.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, kind of like how that correlates with tribes that are geographically like close to each other, although the creatures are very different that they reference.
Yeah. Super interesting stuff. I haven't really done much reading on Thunderbird. It's fascinating.
Yeah, there's kind of like the generalized. Oh, go ahead.
I've wondered if there isn't some sort of a correlation between pterodactyls or some descendant of pterodactyls, especially where they talk about the serpent-like tail, or dragons. It's in mythology around the world to have dragons, and some flew and some didn't, and it's like it was that some dinosaur type creature,
Yeah, that's a really good point, Celeste. Super good point.
Well, interesting enough about that point is that there was some media release, some sort of scientific discovery of someone finding like a fossilized or skeletonized, like what they believe to be like a dragon, which, I mean, everyone has their own theories about it, whether or not it's a story or not. There are stories of dragons across so many cultures, so many different timelines of winged reptiles that breathe fire. And they say that they found a fossilized version of one, or what they think may be one. I haven't looked too much into that, but I did see an article about it. So I wouldn't like take my word as law yet, but I personally think that it's totally possible that these things were real, because there's the whole Asian like history with it.
And it's depicted in artwork and in like the things, pottery and tiles and like hieroglyphic type things all around the world. And there wasn't the communications like we have now. And no, they weren't identical. Some were more the serpenty things, but it's the basic idea throughout the world.
Right. And I mean, they have references of similar creatures in Egyptian culture, in Greek mythology, of course, in medieval history, ancient Asian history as well, have these flying serpent-like creatures, or very similar serpent-like creatures in their mythology and in their history that they use in their stories and have used for like forever, for as long as their history has been. So it's a very interesting topic that does kind of correlate with like the North American history of the Thunderbird, which is also used in like in art today, historical significance today among all these cultures. So it is very, very interesting, the correlation between the two.
Super interesting, and thank you, McKenna. And we're so glad that you're back.
I'm so glad to be back. This is my happy place. Yay! So I am so excited to be back.
Well, okay. Let's go ahead and start with the readings. And we have Carrie Ann has a question. Susie, I saw you were working on it. What have you got?
So I tapped into his feelings. He is torn. He does think about you at night, but he's trying to concentrate more on work right now, money, trying to be a success. There's a lot of pain and heartache here between the two of you. There was a lot of petty arguments, and there's like some pretty hardcore betrayal is what I'm getting from both sides. But the biggest thing from the universe, it says, work on yourself. Don't worry about him. Just improve yourself. Find some hobbies. Find some things that you love to do. Fall in love with yourself again. And if he comes back, he comes back, and then you can talk it over then. You are on his mind, but I can't say right now because he's like wish back and forth, and he's just trying to concentrate on work. That at this point that he'll come back anytime soon because we all have free agency, so I can't say yes or no for sure. But yeah.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
One of the things I wanted to throw in, Colleen had mentioned we're in retrograde, and it goes Mercury. We're always in some retrograde, but right now Mercury retrograde is going through the 11th of August. And that is not a good time to try to reconcile. That is not a good time to make major purchases, sign contracts, anything like that. So it is a great time for introspection and reflection and working on yourself. So I would highly recommend that that's more where you try to focus for the next little bit, because things could, Mercury retrograde increases the chances of communication misunderstandings.
Yes. And pulling up all that old yucky, dirty laundry that shouldn't be dealt with right now. And yeah, I'm getting the hobble of Ghiblies with you there, Celeste. I'm just like,
Hobble of Ghiblies? What in the world?
That's new. You need to tap
all the time. You guys should know that.
All right. Thank you, ladies. That's awesome. And the readings they're always they're not going to sugarcoat it for you guys when you ask. They're going to give you, because you came here to get an answer, and they're not going to sugarcoat
Unless your name is David, my rainbow unicorn, for crying out loud. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So Pac-Man would like a reading for his dad. Either one of you?
It's Celeste's turn.
In a specific category or just in general? I'm assuming just in general.
I think
but
I didn't ask anything specific.
Oh my heavens. My dog does not do this all day until I'm on here.
That's fine. He's just adding his piece. So
yeah. He's like, let me throw my 10 cents in. Okay, so here's some of my foo-foo stuff. We're going through some shifts and some changes right now. And just to look at your dad, you can feel his connection to ancestral type livelihoods, attributes. I mean, he screams Norse pagan. He screams the Vikings.
I know. I was totally just seeing him like bang out a sword and some ironwork.
It emanates from him. And it is kind of complicated when that this is history or this is legend, like some of the things we're talking about versus this is reality. We're having some weird shifts in energy. We're having some weird ascensions, feelings, intuition kicking up, all those kinds of things. And I kind of wonder if he doesn't have moments of going, am I losing my mind? Am I really feeling this? Am I really imagining this? No, you're not losing your mind. It is a strange time right now. He needs to find a way to pull balance out of who he is and who he's been and who he wants to become, because we're all kind of shifting right now, and we're kind of transmuting into higher intuition, higher understanding, more empathy, all those kinds of things. He has a warrior spirit. He has a fighting spirit. And there are ways to incorporate that into this world that we live in now. And so that's what I'm picking up for him, is that there's some kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily turbulence, but there's this feeling of, am I losing my mind? Am I, is this really happening? Are these feelings, are these images I'm seeing in my head or dreams speaking to me? And yeah, they are.
Yeah. Very cool. Susie?
Like I said, I was just literally picturing him like creating like his ancestors did and using iron, and that's what he is forged out of. That's what his ancestors were forged out of. And yeah, it is a crazy shifting time for everybody. But I say, if you feel it, and even though it feels strange, just roll with it, because you're going to learn something and you're going to grow. So that's wonderful opportunities.
Very cool.
And if all else, it's a reminder your ancestors are supporting you in this life. And you are the result of thousands and thousands of people that have come together. And so you're also getting their strength or their support.
Very cool. Well, if you have other questions, please type them in to the chat and we'll handle those. Rose, okay, she is looking for, I'll put it up here, guidance on a relationship with TJ. Where is this relationship headed?
Okay. Relationship. Well, feels very brand new. Feels like he's also still kind of like, it's kind of too new. You know what I mean? He's been thinking about you a lot at night for sure. You're keeping him awake, both in a should I or shouldn't I, but another way too, but we won't go there. Yeah, he's thinking that, I mean, this is all free agency, right? This is just kind of like what's been rolling through his head, that you could be the one. You could be, you know, the one that he marries, he has everything with. So he's watching you like real close. It's really interesting. I also pick up like he's watching you, your actions, what you do now, the potential that you have, and then also watching like your social media to see things. I picked that up. That's really interesting. Yeah, he definitely thinks you're hot. We've got the
He's probably right about that.
Oh yeah. So you're definitely on the high list of yeah, what do you think? I might like this one more. So
yeah. So and Susie, you did have a question that Carrie just asked you specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
all the love things happening with retrograde right now.
Oh,
yeah.
All the turmoil.
Let me tell you.
yes.
No. He's just focusing in on his money. Yeah, he's just trying to drown out like the voices in his head right now. I don't feel like he's moved on with anybody yet. He's thought about dating, but he also doesn't feel like he's ready. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I don't even know if like are relationships even worth it? You know what I'm saying?
I know they're people, but you do learn something every single time.
I know,
but why do we have to learn 10 times? That's my question.
That's the problem. Yeah.
And it's like, were these the glasses I was wearing when I thought this was a good idea?
I know, right? You're going, what the?
All right, to be fair, we are not the ones always learning 10 times. You know, we learn that hard lesson once, probably twice, but then the rest of the time, it's not our fault. It's their fault, right?
Yeah. Marianne, this one was also was backwards inside my deck that I was just doing. That's the King of Pentacles. Oh. He is so focused on just work. That's all he's trying to do. And that's actually a pretty typical male response. I just thought you might find that a bit interesting.
That's a vibe for sure.
Yeah, there's a reason why I like to stay on this little farm with my gates locked.
Okay, so speaking of animals, and also Celeste, not to totally put you on blast, but we should totally do a pet episode. I mean, I've just got a gecko. but like she'd love to be on an episode.
Why not?
Do
Why
like
not? Well,
pet readings. Oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
let's do. Well, yeah.
The dog's losing his mind and the cat's up my nose. So
I don't know if I'd have a good enough connection out in the barn, but it would be fun to try it.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a thought. Maybe we'll see what the people think and then go from there.
Pet readings, why not? I mean, these ladies are good. I'll tell you. I remember
They are
when
excellent
I
and
was
always
going through
spot on.
everything with Zephyr and the energy and healing they were giving him, and until he finally decided he didn't want to take it anymore, he was ready. So it's amazing. It's really amazing the readings that they can do for our animals. So if you have questions about your animals, and what they're struggling with,
They got souls just like us.
they sure do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that my little donkey's getting close. He's getting tired. I don't know that he's taking any more of your energy, Celeste. He's trying, but he's tired. So
he is. I don't imagine. I'm not sure that he would make it through winter, but I'm not sure if he'll make it to winter. But he's still got a little bit.
as long as he's eating carrots, I figure we're still good. He's still eating his carrots.
Well, our poor guy was so sick. He didn't eat for 2 weeks,
Aw.
and he still wouldn't let go. We had to
Yeah.
have the vet come to the house because we felt like we were starting to be selfish. And I think he was at a different thing than Zephyr. Zephyr was like, nope, I'm done. There's other animals that need to be here. I'm ready to go. I think ours was, I will stay as long as you need me, even if I am a hairy skeleton. And that it was getting to that point, the ribs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I'm cognizant of the fact that I may have to call it for him because he may not give up. So we'll watch him. He's getting tired.
He's got some life left in him,
A little
but
bit.
I it's harder when you're in the position and you have to make that decision.
Mhm.
But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think that they're here as a companion to us. They're here as a part of our life. And we, as the higher being, are the ones that if they don't choose to let go of their body, doesn't just quit, we make that decision for them. And I don't think, unless people are just putting their animal to sleep because they're a pain or they don't want to deal with it. Yeah, that's probably not right. But if you have a sick animal trying to decide today or in a week or in a month, I think that's there's not necessarily a wrong choice.
Yeah.
Where is your dog, Celeste?
What?
Where is
He's
the
right here wanting to go outside because the neighbor dogs came outside.
Oh, okay.
Some camera time. He wants to be a part.
No, he's mad because I'm not listening.
He's like, mother.
Well, if I hadn't heard the neighbors, I would let him out, but they don't.
There is a question from Carrie on her doggy. Any messages from him? Is there anything he wants to communicate to Carrie?
My dog has a lot to communicate right now.
So popular.
Morty.
Oh, his name's Morty.
His name's Morty. Yeah.
I love that. It's so cute.
And he is definitely a Morty. Stop. Thank you.
Oh, Mom.
Are you getting anything, Susan?
I'm literally picking up on treats, some kind of orange type of a treat that was maybe like a bacon flavor that he would always beg for at her knee when she was sitting on the couch. I don't know, but he just absolutely adores her. He still comes around and she will catch like an image, what she thinks. She's like, oh, something out of the corner of her eye or the side of her eye. And then in the back of her mind, she thinks it's him, but then she blows it off that it's not him, but it is. He's just checking up on her, which is okay. And then every now and then there's a little depression on the bed, like he kind of jumps on it. You know what I mean? Because lately also I've been picking up that with my cat. I keep feeling Mako jump on the bed, and I turn around and there's nobody there. So, yeah, that's one thing I'm definitely picking up. Was this pupper white? I don't know, but
I don't know. Carrie, let us know if your dog was white.
we just always have them with us, Carrie. It doesn't even matter. You're going to have them again on the other side. They're still here. The other side, like Celeste and I have been talking before, is not like, 3 million light years away. It's right here. It's just a dimension. It's just a veil that's between us. He's
not
still
a physical form.
With you.
Right.
He is still here with you, and he is still your protector, and he's also your guide. And yeah, he's right there with you. So just talk to him. Tell him how much you love him. Tell him how much you appreciate him still being there to protect you and let you know when something isn't quite right, because they can definitely influence you on the other side still. So, yeah.
I had the strangest thing when I went to the day I went and got Murphy was not a day that I had planned to get a dog. And I was driving down South 5th, and all of a sudden I'm at the dog pound, and I had no plans on going. And I walked through the door, and I went right over to his kennel and said, "That's the one I want."
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Don't you even want to pet him?" And I went, "No, this is the dog I want." But they said it's a female. I said, "Okay, great." It turned out to be a male. They never looked.
You've had him before. I swear you've been together before.
It is wild. Like, it was this
that draw
connection with this dog. And he looks at me sometimes, and it's like, "Don't look at me like that." He judges.
He's very human. He's very human. To me, he always reminds me of like your knight in shining armor. Like he's there to protect you, and he's like, "I got you back, baby." He's just a gorgeous boy.
Well, except you're parenting him as well. He's your knight in shining armor, but you are mom. You are parenting him.
Yeah. Sorry about your Frank the Rooster Pac-Man. I had a really groovy rooster named Elvis, and he was so cool. Like if I'd go sing Elvis and I'd go to videotape him, he'd stand up real tall and crow. Oh, he's so cool. And it's really hard when you have a nice rooster.
You guys are so nice to your animals, to call them stuff like that. My rooster, his name was Peckerhead.
Well, the one that I have now, that should be his name.
We had another one that we named. Sorry, hopefully this is YouTube okay, but it was Rooster Dink Pink. That was his name.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Carrie Ann. Yeah, we all miss our pets, man. It's hard, But yeah. I have not named the rooster I have now because I've had to lob him into the side of the barn a few times to get him off of me because he attacks. But now that we've had that moment of foot meeting rooster and rooster meeting barn, he backed off. He's been pretty nice. He went after my friend's little girl, and that doesn't fly with me.
Maybe you should name him Chuck, since you've had to chuck him a few times.
Yes, maybe that's what I'll call him. He's evil. Well, he was evil, but
Chucky. There you go.
I put up with him coming after me, but a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Birds are just ornery sometimes, but I had a pet baby chicken. I lived on a farm, but we were living in town at the time, and his name was Choo Choo. Choo Choo the chicken.
Oh, cute.
And so it's funny how, everybody gets attached to a dog or a cat. You think that, but it's funny. There's people that would move heaven and earth for their snake or their pig or their rooster or, their pet rat, whatever. It's they all have some sort of a little spirit in them.
They're all sentient, aren't they?
Very attached.
I have an old hen who was just getting the snot beat out of her by all the other hens. So I set up the big dog kennel in the aisle of the barn and put a little house in there for her. And now she's so used to me, she follows me all up and down the barn aisle, and I can open the door and tell her to go to bed. And she's just old and crippled, and I'm not going to, she's laid eggs for me for like 5 years. I'm not going to let her get beat up.
You got a retirement chicken.
They don't.
I love it.
A retirement home. I don't.
Assisted living.
They don't beat her up if she doesn't go in their pen. If she's
No.
out in the barn or out in front of the barn, just clucking around and doing her thing, they leave her completely alone. If she crosses the threshold into their pen, they will annihilate her. And I saved her. That's how I knew this was happening. I heard this commotion, and they were terrible. They're terrible. Hens are terrible.
Well, most farm animals can be really brutal
Yeah.
sometimes, but birds or chickens are.
Mhm.
Although
Dinosaurs.
most people never forget the goose bite they get if a goose gets them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Geese are mean.
They're
Geese are.
mean.
And they're scary. They'll hiss at you, and yeah.
Hey, Sherry. Yeah, I tell you, geese. Ooh. We're talking about our animals, Sherry, because we don't have any questions. So if you have a question, please bring one. We're filling space here, guys. We have another like 10 minutes to go. And if I am populating the chat with Celeste and Susie's contact information, make sure that you guys jot it down. You can call them for a full reading, and whatever payment arrangement you work out with them is between you and them. Please ask, contact them for a full reading. Sherry has a question.
Take the list.
Guess who's on the
Take the
show
house
tonight? Huh?
I have a really good feeling, and not everybody agrees with me, but I think house prices are coming down just a pinch. In Bannock County, the taxes are making up for it, so it doesn't affect the price. But and I keep feeling like the interest rates are going to get better, and they're not horrible, but between inflated house prices, increased taxes, and higher interest rates, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. But this is what I always tell people. When you set your mind to a goal and you visualize what you want, when you want it, you create the way to get to it. If you're always saying, we're just never going to be able to get into a house, prices are too high, we can't afford it, we don't have a down payment, we this, we that, you're talking the universe into not helping you. What you have to say is, I know there's a house for us and I really want it. And I want 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and I want some acreage, and I want this and I want that. And you know it's waiting for you to find it. And you know, as soon as you do, you will get it. You create that manifestation of bringing it into your life. So guard your thoughts and set your goals of what you want. And put it out there and know it is just waiting for you to hit that right moment.
Yep. Susie, do you have Bo's question?
Yeah, I've got like cards jumping out everywhere. It's
boy.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because I've never pulled one like this. So they went like this, and it showed me his old job where he felt like he didn't have a voice. He didn't have, he couldn't protect himself. People were always just really crappy and saying stuff they shouldn't. It was keeping him up at night. He just felt like he could never rest and feeling guarded and beat up by the whole job. But this one is showing the 10 of Pentacles. So this is very, very positive. It's going to be able to lead you into positive things. You're going to be able to buy those things that you've been wanting to go after. You're going to feel more comfortable. And this is going to be a place of like rest for you for a while. But once you have like emotionally and physically recovered, I also see that they may be looking at you for promotion.
Wow.
So
that's super positive. Yes. Awesome.
That's great.
All right. We have any more questions out there? We have about 5 minutes to go. Yeah, I love readings like that.
Yeah.
It's super.
Well, it's kind of it's a wild world. I think I mentioned on here that I had created a juju bag, for lack of a better word, to help someone to get a job. And they got the job. And before they even started, were given a huge raise that they did not expect at all when they were given their paperwork to sign in. So there is a lot of amazing things out there just waiting for us to believe in it, to set our mind to it, and to go get it.
So how does one make the juju bag?
Let's get together and I'll help you.
Yes.
Yes. Girls trip.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Susie, can you take Sherry's question and Celeste if you want to work on Ross's question?
Yeah.
If it's just a general.
So Sherry for the boss Rulon. I don't know if you're relaying this to him or not, but he's just got a lot of like stress. He's really worried about stuff, taking things. If it is going in a new direction, a new path, something he's very passionate about, but he's got a lot of chatter going on in his head, like those old thoughts of, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, it's never going to work out, blah, 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 going on in his head. But the universe says if he goes ahead and pushes forward with it, it's going to be successful. So there you go.
Good.
All right. So what I'm feeling, Ross, is right now the best guidance I can give you is not to take risks and not to jump into anything at this moment. This is a good time to really think about details, to do some introspection, thinking what you need to work through, what kinds of obstacles or challenges you've had to deal with. This is a time where it's like when you're getting ready to go on a trip and you're planning your itinerary and you're planning what you're going to pack, and then you go. This is not the time to go. This is the time to do some planning and some thinking about what it is you're really wanting to accomplish. I feel like you're kind of, I don't know that I would say like brain fog, confusion going on, or just a whole lot of stuff like static in your life that you need to kind of silence it down to get more clear thought and feeling on what it is that you're looking for, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you. And don't forget, I've put Susie and Celeste's contact information in the comments. Go ahead and write down their phone numbers so that you can get a hold of them. And then you can arrange for a full reading, because what they give you tonight is just a snippet. Their readings, their full readings are pretty phenomenal and spot on. So, yeah. So, thank you very much, guys. We love having McKenna back. We're so excited. And Celeste, Susie, you guys are phenomenal as always. You guys are just amazing. You're just mind blowing. And tomorrow night, you can tune in again at 7:00. We'll be live, and we're going to be talking about the dark history of fairy tales and Disney movies.
Oh, I did a whole entire senior thesis on that. I had to teach my class 3 hours of that.
Yeah, there's some darkness that the stuff was created from, and we're going to kind of dive into that tomorrow night on our show, tomorrow night on Emergency Encounters. So join us. Yes, it's going to be kind of crazy and spooky.
Oh, please tell me you're covering Cinderella. Oh,
I know somebody is. I'm taking something else, but I think somebody else is coming up, and or somebody else is covering it. And we were just going to do all Disney, but then some of the Grimm's fairy tales were just too good to pass up.
I was just going to mention, when I was younger, I thought they were grim fairy tales, like sad or dark.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were written by Grimm, because they were. Especially when you don't read the storybook ones. If you read the actual original ones,
they're
pretty bad.
Yeah. So join us tomorrow night. We'll be live at 7 with the crowd, and we're going to have a good time. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to some of the new viewers. We're here every Wednesday night at 7, and we really enjoy having you with us, and it makes our week. We look forward to it. See you guys next week, and stay safe out there.
Thanks.
Bye.
Night.